Oh boy. Harry really thought he was walking into a cozy chat about mindfulness in American surf culture, but instead he walked right into the lion's den. Poor deluded Harold. Harry, dressed in his California casual, sitting across from Hasan Minhaj on the podcast Hasan Minhaj Doesn't Know. The stage was set for light laughs and maybe a humble brag or two about his charity work. What Harry got instead? A public roast served medium rare with a side of humiliation. From the very start, Hasan didn't hold back. He pulled out Harry's memoir, Spare, and, with the timing of a man who's been waiting his whole life for this moment, read the now infamous line about Harry getting an official clothing allowance from dear old dad, but only for formal wear. Translation: tuxedos, medals, royal robes. For casual wear, Prince TK Maxx had to fend for himself, apparently. Hasan's deadpan: "Bro, I'm sorry you had to go through that." The audience laughed. Harry tried to lean into the joke, muttering something about TK Maxx being a special place in his memory, but the damage was done completely. It was the kind of moment where you laugh to stop yourself from crying or calling your therapist immediately. When asked whether he was planning to become a US citizen, he coyly replied, "There are no plans to be at this point." Translation: Meghan hasn't decided how that polls yet with focus groups. Then came the rapid-fire questions, and here's where the wheels really started wobbling dangerously. Hasan asked a simple, innocent question. "What do your kids think you do?" And Harry's answer? "They know I help other people." Ah, yes, the universal response of anyone who doesn't actually have a job anymore. You could practically see the smoke coming out of his ears as he tried to come up with something more elaborate. But nope, just a vague statement about helping people somehow. Even Hasan looked like he was suppressing a giggle. Body language experts everywhere probably paused their videos to zoom in. The ear grab, the stutter, the awkward laugh. Classic signs of someone desperately trying to convince both the world and themselves that they still have a purpose beyond cashing checks. The idea of Harry working these days sounds about as believable as Meghan's cooking a family dinner without cameras present. What does he actually do all day? Maybe a few Zoom calls here and there, a speech for a fee, and the occasional, it's really about healing chat with whoever will listen. When Hasan pressed him about what happens when he tells his kids, "Daddy's on a call," Harry launched into an awkward tale about how Archie and Lilibet like to barge in and wave at the camera. Hasan's entire audience was laughing with Hasan, not with Harry. Because this was not the Prince of Woke Wisdom moment Harry probably envisioned. It was a full-on roast disguised as a podcast interview, and Harry didn't even realise it. When the conversation turned to Harry's growing American habits, we got another gem of cringe. Hasan asked how American Harry's become, and Harold decided this was his moment to shine bright. He ordered his best accent and proudly declared the lines like, "I ordered breadsticks with ranch dressing at Applebee's," and "Do you like my Cybertruck? Someone please get this man an acting coach, or better yet, a friend who will tell him no. Just no." He said he surfs now, though he admitted he has chicken legs and avoids wearing shorts. And then there was the joke about knighting Hasan. He actually mimed it on camera awkwardly. "If I had a sword, I'd knight you." Somewhere in Buckingham Palace, a corgi probably choked on its biscuit in disgust. Things briefly took a serious turn when the topic shifted to social media and kids. Harry, now in full TED Talk mode, declared that social media is taking young men and boys into very dark places. Kind of like how Netflix took Spare into the clearance section after 6 months. He lamented that he and Meghan have been beaten up on social media, which, given the things they've said about the royal family, is a bit like throwing a grenade and then crying about the noise it makes. But wait, Harry wasn't done pontificating. He said he and Meghan are now focusing on identifying the root cause of suffering and pain around the world. And apparently that root cause is the tech industry, which is odd considering Meghan is actively working her way back into Instagram faster than Harry can say brand partnership opportunity. He talked about being cautious with giving his kids access to social media. You know, the same kids who get featured in family documentaries, books, and Netflix specials for profit. Then came what many saw as a subtle clapback to the Prince and Princess of Wales. Remember how Prince William recently said they won't be giving their kids smartphones anytime soon? None of our children have any phones, which we're very strict about. Harry couldn't resist poking that bear, could he? He went on about how children who don't have phones might get bullied at school. Because nothing screams modern parenting like suggesting your 6- and 4-year-old are about to be cyberbullied by toddlers wielding iPads. Let's unpack that for a second. Harry's kids are 6 and 4 years old. They're probably more worried about crayons and snack time than TikTok trends. Yet, here's their dad trying to sound like a digital age philosopher, while completely contradicting himself at every turn. Just weeks ago, he said social media is dangerous and parents should protect their children from it. Now, suddenly, he's warning that not having access could make them outcasts somehow. Pick a lane, Harold. It was a clear, passive-aggressive jab at William and Catherine's more grounded, old-school parenting approach. You know, the kind that involves school runs and no staged paparazzi walks. Harry probably thought he was scoring points for modernity, but all he did was expose how deep his inferiority complex runs toward his brother. William and Catherine don't need to clap back publicly. They just quietly parent their kids while Harry and Meghan give lectures about it on podcasts. That's the difference between royals and reality stars trying desperately to stay relevant. By the end of the episode, it was clear who the real star was, and it wasn't Harold Sussex. Hasan managed to roast him, get him flustered, and expose just how thin the veneer of his new persona really is underneath. You can't spend years bashing your family, move to California, and then play the enlightened dad card without people noticing the hypocrisy everywhere. By now, it feels like Harry's every attempt to sound relatable just turns into an episode of The Office. He talks about helping people, yet seems totally detached from the real world. He rails against social media, while his wife uses it for brand building constantly. He worries about kids online, but profits from putting children, other people's children, in his content. The contradictions are endless and exhausting. Meanwhile, back in the UK, the Waleses just keep doing their thing consistently. No drama, no podcasts, no pseudo-intellectual rants about the internet, just work, school, and family time. And every time Harry tries to look superior, he ends up looking like the punchline of his own joke. At this point, Harry's entire public persona feels like an endless loop of contradictions nobody asked for. He left the royal family to live privately, yet never stops talking about the royal family publicly. He says he wants his kids to have normal lives, yet sells their privacy for Netflix money without hesitation. He lectures about tech harms while cashing in on media exposure continuously. And through it all, he still seems desperate for his brother's approval somehow. Like the kid who dropped out of school but keeps trying to prove to his classmates that he's doing just fine, thank you very much indeed. In the end, Hasan Minhaj didn't just mock Harry. He accidentally revealed the truth about him. Strip away the title, the PR team, and the curated image, and what you're left with is a man who seems perpetually lost. A man who thought he escaped the royal cage only to build a digital one made of podcasts, Netflix contracts, and awkward interviews nobody remembers. So, what did we learn from this little comedy of errors exactly? That Harry's still trying way too hard to be relatable to common people. That Meghan's media machine isn't doing him any favours whatsoever. The whole of the UK is laughing, honestly. And honestly, after that performance, who can blame them?